5 companies you're about to see represent a diverse range of industries from consumer products, medical devices, and HR technology. Each of these companies have worked incredibly hard to earn their spot on the stage, and we're thrilled to provide them with the platform to share their stories and innovative solutions. So let's get it started. We have the first Growth Stage finalists to join us this afternoon, Portland based Beginly Health. They are an AI curated job matching platform for healthcare clinicians and employers. So let's give it up for Stephanie Grein and Christy Olson.
Bright lights.
Hi, everyone. We are Beginly Health, a physician and APC job matching app. I'm Stephanie Grein, and I spent my last 15 years building my career in San Francisco. There, I was a founding member of a healthcare tech company, built, grew, and led the acquisition of that company to a big Australia company after I did my time. I have since worked with other startups and getting them off the ground. And that's right about when Christy got my ear about Beginly Health.
Do you have a clicker?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Christy. I actually have been in Steph's ear for several years about this problem, but our story actually starts long before that, 20 plus years ago, not to age ourselves too much. We met because we shared a dorm wall at the University of Oregon. Go Ducks. Come on. Oh, okay. So what started as walking buddies to our science class turned into best friendships, and now we get to do this business together. After that, I went to Portland, and it was while getting my master's at OHSU that I was introduced to physician recruitment, where I spent the last 10 years leading the largest in-house recruitment team, which is at the Providence Health System. Was just living the pain of this problem firsthand, and we had to go do something about it. So Steph and I got to put our heads together. So let's bring some color to the problem. How do physicians and APCs find jobs today? These are highly educated folks that are just subjected to endless, just inundation by recruiters. I know, I was one of them. Texts, emails, phone calls. We have a user on our platform who tells a story about delivering a baby. She's like, I'm elbow deep delivering a baby and my phone is ringing off the hook. Like, this is just not working. And the other side of this is not much better, right? On the employer side, spending tons and tons of money on job boards, on techniques and tools that just don't work anymore. They yield zero engagement. ROI has been really decreasing, and it's a problem across the country. Also, it costs about $250,000 to hire one physician. That doesn't even include retention issues and then downstream revenue deferment if they can't actually fill these roles. So big problem. It's also important to note that there's a large physician shortage. We're in the middle of it now. Probably many of you experienced that, trying to get appointments with docs. It's getting worse over the next 10 years. So what is a bad problem right now is only going to be worse. Like watching this scroll. So anyway, that's the problem with a little bit more color. So what are we doing about it? We have developed this AI curated matchmaking tool. We say kind of like a dating app so you can orient yourself. We allow physicians and APCs to build really, really holistic and robust profiles about themselves. It's not anymore just about what your specialty is and where you want to live. It's what do you like to do in your free time? Do you like to ski? Do you want to be close to a mountain? What else is really fueling your desires? And so that's hugely important to us, and we have to take that into consideration to bring some efficiency to this otherwise pretty broken process. You can also imagine we're going to be sitting on a ton of real-time data, compensation data as people post transparent information on our platform, as well as job-seeking timelines and things. So we are going to have an incredible amount of workforce planning information and comp data to share with people on both sides of this. How are we driving revenue? Free to the clinician user. This is a charge to the employer. We are, as employers, very familiar with spending money on stuff like this. We have tiered out our spend to make sure that we are supporting and are accessible to employers of all sizes. The current space really, really favors large employers who can throw money at this problem, who can afford to be on job boards, who can afford SEO strategies, et cetera. We are really, really leaving in the dust rural, independent, federally qualified health centers and the like. So we are highly committed to a price structure that is accessible to everybody. This is what we call our NASCAR slide. This is just a peek of some of our signed healthcare employers that are currently using our tool. And again, nice representation of our commitment. We've got independents on here all the way up to large health systems that many of you are familiar with. And guys, this is the tip of the iceberg. There are 280,000 employers of clinicians and counting. So speaking of big numbers, this is a $24.1 billion industry annually, 14.5 billion of which is spent in the clinician space. It also just so happens to be where our expertise is, so we are actively going after this market.
And when we launched, we really wanted to spend time on getting the clinicians so that we're providing value to the employers. And in just 6 months, we made a ton of traction. We have over 1,000 users representing 60 different specialties. And this is aligning really well with our financial projections, not only with the number of healthcare employers that we're signing up on our platform, but the number of jobs we have. So we have revenue in 6 months from launch. We are on track to hit our revenue goals this year. And our forecast shows us to be a $75 million company in 4 years. I'm an operator, so these are really achievable numbers. They're not the pie in the sky numbers you often hear from entrepreneurs. So we're really excited to keep this momentum. How have we been doing it? We started our go-to market with the Pacific Northwest, really utilizing Christie's network and signing up employers, getting jobs, getting physicians on the platform, seeing the matches happening. And now we are at a point where we get to go and scale. What we learned during this process is it's really Christie's expertise in having lived the problem that gives us a lot of credibility where employers immediately understand why Beginly is a great solution. So we're backed by some really rock star investors, physician leaders, entrepreneurs, patent experts, and the most founder-friendly VCs out there, led by Village Global, Chairman Reid Hoffman. They've been pretty amazing and put us in a great spot to gear up for our seed raise. So here we are making traction, looking to raise $4 to $5 million in our seed around the new year. And we'll use that growth capital to launch our native app, really increase user engagement, have some key hires, and expedite saturation of west of Rockies and increase our footprint across the United States, which will take us to profitability. So really excited about everything we've built and our journey moving forward.
Thank you. Ladies,
Should we
have a
sit
seat.
together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys graduate early 2000s? U of O?
Mid 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I
Early
was there
mid.
before you then. Okay.
Very
Fine.
late 2000s.
Fine. Okay. Well, you did fantastic. You look fantastic. That
Well,
was a
thank
great
you.
pitch.
Thank you.
And I love the coordination.
Oh, thanks for noticing.
Yep. Well,
It
so
was intentional.
it was?
Yeah, of
Oh, good.
course.
Good.
Okay.
Well, everyone, you know what time it is. Grab your device.
Oh, boy.
Let's get some questions to menti.com. I'm sure you can see the code over there. I will not say it very long, but just put it in and ask some questions. And as that's going, I will ask you some questions.
Be kind.
Yeah. Okay. Where'd you get your no? I want to know why you are uniquely positioned to solve this problem.
I think I'll take it. Steph started to talk about this a little bit, and I think everybody hates to hear this, but it is a pretty nuanced industry. I feel like a lot of times we give this pitch and I'm like, yeah, this is really obvious. Why is nobody doing this already? It's because it's a hard market. I mean, two-sided marketplaces are hard. Physicians are notoriously difficult to get to sign up for things, right? And then also on the recruitment side of the house, it's a pretty tight-knit community, and so really being able to leverage connections that I've had. There's a big group of us that are part of a kind of a national group, and I can just call friends who have done what I do. The ability to say, I built the thing I wish I had, goes a really long way. So I don't think just anybody
Absolutely.
can kind of step in and sell this. So
Oh, that's great. That's
yeah, thanks for the
fantastic.
question.
Yeah, we really need this for lawyers too, but we
Okay,
gotta
great.
find.
You're
We
next.
have it trademarked, don't worry.
Okay, I'm waiting. It was very hard to find associate. We found an amazing associate, but it was a difficult process.
Yeah,
So this
it
is
is.
much needed. I can. Oh, I see a question pop up. Where do doctors look for jobs today?
Well, there is the Google search, which is not all that helpful. And this is what I was alluding to earlier, that it's expensive to show up on a Google search. So you're going to see the big folks, right? You're going to see the Kaisers and in this market, St. Charles, et cetera. But you're not going to see those independent groups and the smaller folks. So, Google searching, there's physician-only job boards that people utilize, but it's not great. There's not a lot of resources out there currently for physicians to strategically find jobs. They do a lot of the legwork on their own, a lot of sifting and sorting, and it's pretty ugly. So,
Yeah. I don't know if you can get into this without getting into your trade secrets, but how do you use AI in matchmaking?
sure.
AI, we're using pretty broadly at the moment as far as creating CVs for users and physicians and taking job descriptions from employers and using other information to make them very relevant to the physician user to increase engagement and interest in that job. The real secret sauce is in the matching algorithm, which we have a provisional patent filed for.
Certain parts of the US are harder to entice physicians to. Obviously not Bend, but other
That's
spots.
actually true.
Yeah.
How do you overcome this?
Yeah, and it's a great question. So the thing about it is, there it's true. There's certain parts of the country that not a lot of people want to live in, and that's tough. So there's telemedicine strategies and such to accomplish that. But after having done this for a long time, I've supported rural recruitment for a long time, and the reality is there are physicians who want to work in those spots, but they're not seeing those jobs. And so that's why it's our obligation to elevate them and bring the level the playing field and show people that they do exist. There are plenty of people who want to either go back to where they grew up, or serve. They train in such a way where they actually do want to work in markets like that. But again, they're not seeing them.
Oh, great. Are physician recruiters technically savvy enough to use a Tinder style job board?
I mean, if I can figure it out, absolutely. I mean,
That is true. Sorry.
thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not an overly complex tool, and in fact, every time we demo it, people are like, "Oh man, this is actually super intuitive." And let me tell you, the tools that they currently use, not super user friendly. So we're yeah, the bar is low, but absolutely, it's a simple tool to use.
Great. I think we got one more. Those are aggressive growth projections.
Mm.
hmm
What must be true for this to work? Marketplaces are hard.
We've never heard this before.
Marketplaces are hard, and as Christy spoke earlier, physicians are in general skeptical to sign up for a single platform. So really, they are going to sign up for one platform. They're not going to sign up for multiple platforms like we're seeing in the nursing space, which is very saturated. So a lot of this is a land grab, which is why we're raising the 4 to 5 million seed early and are ready to spend the money to really expedite our growth.
Great. Well, fantastic job. You guys nailed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for having us. This way.
I heard people don't answer or ask questions here, but you guys are really bringing it in. So thank you. I didn't have enough prepared. So next to join us on stage is Beck Wilder from Green Canopy Node. Based in Seattle, Green Canopy Node is addressing the complex challenges of affordable housing through configurable prefab kits for residential housing.
I have to say first, I can't believe you came back. I think that says more about me than about you, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm Beck Wilder, CEO and co-founder of Green Canopy Node. We are selling assembly kits to developers so we can transform building into assembly. And we're doing it because we need housing. We have a 5 million housing unit gap in the US that only gets bigger every year. This is new construction needed, and we have to do it in the way that we build in modern times, which is with industrialized construction, and we're seeing that happen around the world. How we build really matters. We need to build for our sustainable future because houses and all buildings are legacy assets, which means the energy profile we build in on day one is how they perform for their 100-year-plus life cycle. So in order to bring manufacturing to construction, we're all going to need standardized components. That's components that can be manufactured efficiently and can work together in a building system so that we can get to different floor plans through configurability. Configurability of components will allow us to get to different building types. So we We can build today in our building system single-family homes, townhouses, and apartment buildings. Our system includes everything above the foundation. It is based on standardized components. Hopefully I walked you right there. That can be manufactured and can be expanded and contracted through parametric design, really creating a basis for manufacturing. They're also carbon negative, which is us reaching, because if we're going to build the same thing over and over again, we have to do it right. We've got a DOE grant that's helping us do material reuse so that the materials in the house can be reused in 100 years or 300 years as part of the circular economy. And it all started here with the utility kit. We like to call it the gateway component, little inside joke for you, because everybody wants this. It can go into stick frame, steel frame, concrete, whatever, but it brings all of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing into prefabricated wall system. We have a horizontal distribution system. We got here because we looked at every single daily log of all of the homes we built, a couple hundred homes on Basecamp. We couldn't scrub it easily. I didn't do it, so there's that. But what we got to was that 70% of the time, the issue that happened, whether it was a delay, rework, or warranty, was a utility issue. So we had to solve this problem for ourselves first, and now we're solving it for our customers. Our customers are small developers who build most of the US housing market, which is a gigantic market, over $500 billion. Most developers build less than 25 homes a year, which means they're too small to solve the problems that we have in construction. The rising cost comes from siloed stakeholders, long and increasingly longer development timelines, and slow to no technology adoption, which is where we come in. We are a vertically integrated construction technology company. We have enough of the value stream of development to get new technology to market while we're containing construction costs and reducing construction timelines. In-house, we have development services, design and architecture, general contracting, and we have real estate funds. So we do small real estate funds for impact investors to bring capital to deeply green projects. Here's an example of some projects that we have going on right now using our whole value stream, including our building system. We build 6 stories, residential or under, always multi-unit, always for developers. They're, and like I've said, townhouses, apartment buildings, they're single family home clusters. 2024, super hot. It's the year of the single family home cluster. 2025 looks like it's shaping up to be the year of the apartment building. And recently we've been getting a lot of conversations going about student housing, which I'm really hoping is going to be our 2026. One of our key competitive advantages is that we are a trusted development partner here in the Pacific Northwest. We've built over 350 homes. 100 of those are net zero energy, making us the single largest infill net zero energy builder in Portland and Seattle. 11 of them in our prefab system, and we've had over 87 million in combined real estate assets under management. We're winding down our 4th fund, and just to give you an idea, it's like a $15 million fund that we leverage for $40 million worth of housing. This is setting us up to grow fast. So we've got a lot of, we have high revenue dollars, but we have a low margin business. But we also have a lot of sightline into what our revenue will be in the next 12 to 18 months. So that $60 million figure for 2025 is actually backed by projects we're currently working on. If we're not working on them, they're not in that number because it's never going to go fast enough, right? So we have a lot of assurance that we're going to be hitting that and profitability next year with more and more building system units in the pipeline. So we're going to go from 9 this year to 47 next year. 40 is an apartment building that'll be in Seattle, Washington, and 7 will be a single family cluster. That 9 that's actually right now is going to be in Portland. So if anyone's from that area. Anybody? You're like, our customers originally bought because they were excited about what we were building, and also our building system allowed them to have a differentiated product in the market. But they're buying now because we're saving them time and we're controlling construction costs. Meanwhile, we're seeing increasing margins on the building system that are outpacing general construction margins. To grow, we need to do 2 things. One is we need to get our proprietary API out there so that designers can design in our system. This is activating architects as a sales channel to get to developers. And for execution, the pop-up factory. This is a temporary, low-cost facility that helps bridge the gap between building site location and manufacturing location. It helps us open new markets and deploy much larger projects than any one factory can handle. We're doing a pilot in it'll be up and running at the end of next year or early 2026 in Virginia. We love strategic partners. We have a big track record of partnering with them because the truth is in construction, nobody is going to innovate without more of the value stream. There's just too many stakeholders. So we partner with supply chain, innovation, government, and developers to build resiliency around getting our product to market. Our team is all construction professionals. We've all dedicated our entire careers to building housing. We have real estate and appraisal and acquisition, general contracting, design, technology, and we're passionate about sustainable housing, and I believe intrepid on finding a scale path to it. In the recap, we have developed and we are executing a super sustainable building system. It is faster, we can control the construction cost, and it is designed to leverage the single biggest way to scale that we do for everything else, which is manufacturing. We're doing it today. So please reach out, build with us. We need developer clients. We want people working with us in all capacities. We have a current offering. We'd love to have you join us as an investment partner. Thank you so much.
You, Beck, thank you. That was great.
Thanks.
Have a seat. How do you feel?
Great.
Yeah.
Casual.
Good. That's how it should be. Really lean back on this. Yeah. Great. Good. Well, I think you answered this in the pitch, but how do you feel that the company's uniquely positioned to tackle affordable housing?
Affordable housing, specifically, fun fact, unpopular fun fact, it costs the same as market rate construction. Like construction cost is the leveler. So when we look at building more affordable housing, we're looking at complex capital stacks, new market tax credits. We don't do that part, our clients do. So what we're seeing more and more though is developers who just want to control the cost of construction and build faster so they can build affordably without the government-backed public funding capital stacks. And I think that that is really going to help us get to more affordable housing. If we can guarantee that this is going to be the price even 9 months out, they'll be able to move more confidently towards lower rents or lower exit values.
Predictability. I love that. That's great.
Sure.
All right. Would current manufactured home builders be competition or potential partners?
That's a good question. So right now we're leveraging some more basic manufactured home builders to help us get our system out so we can stay really scrappy. Oftentimes, a manufactured home builder has a very specific way that they build. They're going to build a floor plate on rails and they're just going to push it on down. So they can't build in our system. So there's going to be a big gap there for that. You know, when it comes down to it, I get asked this competition question all the time. We're going to be winning when everyone's building like us. We need to build 5 million. We need 1 million units in the Puget Sound area in the next 20 years, and that's not even actually calculated for climate refugees. Like, we can't build enough. We need every single manufactured home facility to be pushing out as much housing as it can. We could build to our heart's content. If we build 10,000 units a year, we have sub 1% of the entire housing market. Like, we cannot build enough. So when people, you know, yeah, would we at some point in time go head to head and lose a project? Maybe. But right now, that's not the biggest problem we have.
Everyone can eat. There's enough for everybody.
There's so much, yeah.
Great. Why choose a $3.5 million family home that is prefabricated? Will you offer a smaller, cheaper option in the future?
That's great. I don't know if I would choose a $3.5 million family home.
I could.
Period. But no, I'm joking. So I used to work with Method Homes, and we actually were building really beautiful $3.5 million family homes. I think there's a market for that. Our homes are coming in right now at hard cost, construction costs, like $278,000 a foot. So you can get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath for like $300,000 of construction cost. That is selling on the market for $600,000 or $700,000, depending on where you are. We're meeting market demands. I mean, I think that's the thing. I think one of the reasons that we're still kicking, and I don't know how many of you have heard about many construction technology companies who have not been able to stay with us, including some of the big ones like Katera, but even Vive or some others. We are fitting all of our projects that hit the sites into performas that work for developers who are real, which means our technology today, even at not scale, has to fit construction cost. It already has to be the same. That means that we're just playing in the exit values based on the capital stack and what the developers need. We aren't building luxury housing. We are building market rate. We are building affordable. We are building for rent and for sale. But I think a big part of it is making sure that those construction costs are the same, even as you're developing new technology, and we can do that.
Great.
Yeah.
We got one more. Oh, we are out of time. That was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, now audience, please help me welcome the third growth stage finalist, Health Elements AI. They're a local Bend technology platform that leverages AI to streamline health data abstraction. Yes. Joining us on stage is Jeff LeBrun.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeff. I'm the CEO of Health Elements. At Health Elements, we're on a mission to make healthcare more affordable and save lives. And we do that by streamlining healthcare data quality management using AI. Before we get into the details of what that means exactly, I want to first provide you with a couple reasons why you should care about this topic. So for most people, the difference between the quality at a health system could mean the difference between staying healthy and active longer, having more years to spend with your loved ones, or, this. So raise your hand if you've been to a hospital. Yeah, so pretty much everyone. We've all been born, right? So what you might not know is that after you leave the hospital will create something called a clinical registry, which you'd see here on this form. What that is it's really a long form with up to hundreds of different structured fields that somebody is going to fill out. These forms are created by nonprofits like the American College of Cardiology. They get submitted after the procedure, and then that's used to benchmark and compare quality, both across hospitals and also across individual physicians or surgeons. And the data, once it exists, can be used for a few different things, so it's really cool. One, it can ensure the consistent application of best practices and guidelines. It also can reduce variability between organizations, which then increases health equity. And all of that leads to improved health outcomes. It also can be used to improve consumer choice. I was surprised to learn that the mortality rates for lower performing facilities are actually about 3 times higher than higher performing facilities. So if I was going to choose where I was going to have my surgery, I would be looking for one of those higher performing facilities, but that's just me. So here's the catch, right? Quality data sounds pretty great probably by this point. The way that data is abstracted today is just a really terrible, inefficient process. The people doing this work are usually very experienced nurses who sit in a back office. They're spending 1 to 2 hours per form. And the way that they're doing this is they're essentially looking at the electronic health record on one screen, trying to find the answer to whatever question they're answering in the registry, and then flipping over to another screen and filling that out. And not only is this inefficient, right, it's actually taking people with clinical training away from patient-facing work at a time when there's actually not enough people with this experience, as you heard in our first presentation. So the way that we have, at Health Elements, we've redesigned this entire process to be about 10 times more efficient using the most cutting-edge AI that's available today. I'll walk you through quickly how it works. So first, our software will connect and ingest the patient's health record. It then fills out the registry form with recommendations, which you can see here. It will underline the part of the record that's being used to make that determination, and even provide a written explanation why it's answering the question the way it is. It'll provide a confidence score, and the nurse or abstractor can then actually change the answer if they disagree for some reason, at which point we take that feedback, and that actually improves our AI and improves our product as it's out in the field. Again, this process can be 10 times faster, and we reduce labor costs then for this process by 50%. So you might be wondering at this point, why hasn't somebody already done this? Well, the reality is it just wasn't technically possible until today. Older generations of AI topped out at about 60, 70% accuracy for this type of application. And even like your most cutting edge ChatGPT would only get up to about 80% compared to our AI, which is reaching above 90% by fine-tuning it and doing some other things to get to this level of accuracy. 90% happens to be the bar that these registries have to be able to submit. It needs to be that accurate. So the older AI just didn't work. It didn't get the job done. I want to provide you quickly with an example of what this could look like to an organization. This example actually happens to be an early customer that we're in the process of rolling out with right now. So not only are we reducing their cost by 50%, we're actually increasing the turnaround time where they can get access to this data. That's actually really important, right? Because if you're detecting a quality gap, it's not great if you're getting that 60 to 70 days after the patient's already left the hospital. If there's a complication, it's probably going to happen in the first couple of days. So it's actually clinically more valuable to get it turned around that much faster. The reason that we're able to do this is because we have like literally the best team in the world to be working on this problem, and they're actually sitting back there, probably blushing right now. But Russell was the CTO at the market-leading company in the space, Qcentrix, built a technology platform that scaled this almost exact same application to over 1,200 hospitals, and then went on to work on world-class AI teams at Amazon and the Allen Institute. Alyssa was also an engineering leader at Qcentrix and has direct experience. I'm a multiple-time health tech entrepreneur. Companies I founded have raised over $60 million, served over 100,000 patients, and I've brought good returns to my early investors. If we look at the market today, there's about $6 billion going into labor for this specific clinical abstraction purpose. We're starting out in cardiology and then expanding across service lines from there. So it's kind of a classic land and expand go-to-market approach. But we're actually not stopping there, right? If you look at one of the other benefits of this type of approach, today, structured health data is really the input to a lot of the most exciting clinical innovations that are happening, things that use machine learning. So over the past 30 years, we've gotten to this point by using things like electronic health records and even the registries that we're supporting. But we could actually structure even more than that. And by reducing the cost of creating structured data, we're making more of it available. That can be used for things like developing solutions for the early detection of cancer, which is what I was working on prior to Health Elements. And data is great, but healthcare is also extremely personal, right? And one of the problems that we have today is our physicians just don't have enough time to see their patients. Your average physician or nurse is spending 50% or more of their time entering data. So we have some of our most highly trained clinical members of society, and we're treating them like highly paid data entry technicians in reality. And so it shouldn't be a surprise that there's also a lot of burnout because of that. So we're helping clinical teams get their time back so that they can spend more quality time with patients, and that also leads to better quality health outcomes. And that's something I think that we should all really benefit from going forward. Thank you.
Jeff, thank you. Have a seat. Come have a seat on the relaxed chairs. It was a great job. What a great use of AI. I think this is going to be a great tool. So everyone, if there's any questions, you see the code right up there and we can get going. All right, first one. Generative AI is often confidently wrong. Do humans have to double check everything your software writes?
Yeah, so it sounds like generative AI and entrepreneurs have a lot in common. Just a little joke there. I think the answer is, for now, we think it's a better idea. As you're going into a health system, right, you want them to have confidence that they will be able to make those changes if needed. It's a way to get buy-in. I think, because we're using nurses to provide that feedback, we can see, right, how often they need to make changes. And so we can pull humans out of the loop as we're seeing that that's possible, right? I think there's always, it's always a good idea to have some level of sampling to do things like preventing drift of the models. So I think that's something that we'll always do. And there is actually a process that's employed today to monitor human accuracy in this task. And so that's actually great because it's already built into kind of how we're doing things.
Great. How do you ensure that when using third-party data, sensitive records don't get illegally released or used?
Right, yeah, so I mean, we have pretty strict processes in place around that. HIPAA would just be the starting point. I think that's one of the great things, having done this before and then working with other people who've done this before. I won't go into the details, but we're following a lot of the best practices. And then organizations have processes in place too, right? So like you can't just claim that you're HIPAA compliant. You're going to get audited by your customers, and they're going to ensure that you're following those processes too.
How are hospitals currently doing today? Do they all do this in-house? How are they currently doing it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I didn't go into this in the market details, but there's really two ways that hospitals are staffing to this today. About 80% of hospitals are doing it in-house, and there's some reasons why they like to do that. The other option is to hire an outsourced firm, right? And that's actually what Qcentrix and there's other companies like them in the space. They're about 20% of the market. Some of these companies use software to help ingest the data and manage the workflows, but nobody is really using AI at scale.
You mentioned that cardiology is the starting point. What are other areas that you're planning to get into?
Good question. So yeah, cardiology is a great starting point. It really is where quality reporting started, and it's been going on for 30 years. Oncology is really the other big area where there's a lot of need for this. That's cancer. That's required by most states. Actually, just went to an oncology data abstractors meeting a couple weeks ago that was here in Bend for the state of Oregon. But really, every single kind of service line in the hospital has something related to quality reporting. And the other thing that's maybe a little relevant is it also applies to primary care, and it's really the way that insurance companies are shifting to compensate hospitals, right? They're paying for performance as opposed to fee for service. That's a whole nother topic, but that's one of the bigger underlying changes right now happening in healthcare.
Great. What happens to your company as generative AI models continue to improve? Does your advantage from the fine tuning go away?
Yeah, that's also an interesting question. I think AI is a big part of what we're doing, but there's an entire vertical kind of workflow built around this. So if the core models were better, we could actually use those models. There's still going to be tuning to the specific application. So I think we're always going to be able to, one, improve upon the models, and two, you can't just like plug and chug ChatGPT into a vertical application like this. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into it.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. There's a lot of getting up. A lot of getting up for a pregnant lady. I'm gonna just make that complaint. All right. Okay. Next up, we're going to have the next finalists show up. They are Portland-based ProMedix. ProMedix is developing a revolutionary non-invasive patient monitor for accelerating sepsis detection. Let's give it up for Scott Filer.
Yeah. So we made it back here. And now that you've been drinking, good afternoon, Bend. I am Scott Filer, CEO of ProMedix. This is a scene that is playing out all across the United States. In fact, I would guarantee that at this very moment, somewhere, this is occurring. And what you see is a collection of physicians that are surrounding a patient that is in clinical crisis. What should terrify you is the expressions. Nobody in this room at this very moment knows exactly what's happening. So after they determine that you're breathing, one of the immediate things that they check is your circulatory system. They're looking for circulatory dysfunction. And the reason you do that, look, our bodies are really smart. As we get sick, as we head into shock, our bodies sequester blood from our extremities, from the feet, from the hands. And so from one of the earliest physiological signs of shock is circulatory dysfunction. And it comes in two distinct varieties. So vasodilation, which is fairly consistent in sepsis, or vasoconstriction when you're bleeding to death. But you might think that there's some serious technology that goes into figuring out whether this is happening. Let me show you how doctors do it. Physicians, since the time of Hippocrates, have pinched fingers to determine whether or not you are experiencing circulatory dysfunction. And they do it by pressing down on the nail bed. There's an entire, yeah, I see you guys pressing already. There is an array of microcirculation that is right underneath your nail bed. And if you press it and then let go, they time visually, subjectively, how long it takes to go from white back to pink. Those of you who are pinching right now, let go. I guarantee it's probably instantaneous. But in any case, it is a subjective observation, but it's actually critical in determining if a patient is becoming actually septic. Get this to move. There we go. It's called capillary refill time. That's its technical term, or CRT. And it's a rapid way of determining if someone is becoming septic, right? So a CRT of greater than 3 seconds can actually indicate, concomitant with a fever, that a patient is becoming septic, that they're decompensating, they're getting worse in real time. Fascinatingly, though, recently, clinical research has shown that patients that have treatment guided by CRT have better outcomes than patients that are guided by lab results. So it shows it's actually a pretty good measure, right? But again, it's subjective. And as a result, when these patients end up in the emergency room, if you wait a long time, raise your hand if you've ever waited a long time in an emergency room. Yep. If a physician hasn't checked your peripheral blood flow, your circulatory dysfunction, your CRT, they may miss you. And as a result, you will end up needing intensive care, the most expensive care modality that exists. And that's because with sepsis, speed is everything. The longer it takes for you to get recognized as being septic, the sicker you get. And the sicker you are, the more expensive it is to care for you. And sepsis cost US healthcare $30 billion last year alone. But if you can catch this, if you can identify sepsis when the patient first arrives, you actually not only improve the morbidity and mortality of that patient, it's better patient care, but you can reduce the need for intensive care. And if you reduce the need of intensive care, it's a more stable patient, and as a result, it's a more stable discharge, an earlier discharge. And from a hospital economic standpoint, that means a free bed. That means turnover. That means access and a more financially stable hospital. But it is especially good for the patient. Now, this seems pretty straightforward, but unfortunately, it's very hard to get in the middle of healthcare in this way. It's hard to activate this system because physicians aren't at triage. Physicians are later after you've been admitted to the emergency room. Plus, when they do check, it's subjective. Hospitals are keen to figure out a way to catch this earlier. Introducing Peripheral, a non-invasive fingertip sensor for circulatory dysfunction. It digitally changes a subjective observation to an objective measure. It can be deployed throughout the hospital, and for the first time in industry, ladies and gentlemen, now physicians can not only get their baseline reading on you, they can continue to monitor you over time after they've begun a therapeutic intervention, which means they can adapt your care to your response to it. There are a number of medical device manufacturers who are getting in on this. Baxter Starling has a really neat but highly expensive $8,000 to $10,000 unit that requires sensors that are placed on the chest and the abdomen, and the patient's legs need to be elevated 45 degrees. As you can imagine, that doesn't quite fit into clinical workflow. And as a result, their market penetration is very poor. So Our device is the only one that, by the way, is $850 per unit, and it can be deployed throughout the entire hospital. Or how about on ambulances? For the last 3.5 years, we've raised a little over 1.6 million. We have 6 exceptionally strong patents that protect not only our device, but our proprietary algorithm. 2 have been issued, 4 are pending. And the FDA has already approved our clinical validation with 2,000 patient encounters. All that's left is safety testing for us to apply for our FDA clearance, and then we can sell. So not unlike the company before me, we have a land and expand. We will land and land hard, selling directly into emergency rooms and sepsis because it is the clearest market pathway or commercialization glide path for us. But then we will pivot and pivot equally hard because now we can expand and ubiquitize, if I may use a word, our device toward care across the entire spectrum, the entire healthcare ecosystem. So we already have customer demand. Chief Nursing Officer at Columbia Memorial Hospital said that the minute we're FDA cleared, they will buy our product. Columbia on the other side of the coast, all the way on the other side of the country, the top expert in sepsis and ICU in the United States has said that he believes every single patient that comes into the hospital should have a baseline peripheral CRT. And I could go into all this. Other than a beautiful slide of logos, these are our strategic partners, but the highlighted are investors. And yes, Baxter is a competitor and a strategic partner, and they've been an investor. I'll explain that anytime you want to hear how that worked. We're conducting a $500,000 late seed bridge to finish this FDA clearance and be ready to jump into the marketplace. Immediately after our FDA, we plan to utilize a $10 million priced round in 3 tranches. I'm running out of time. We can skip this. Anyone wants comps, I'll show you. Barty Diagnostics had a $375 million exit. They only had $20 million in revenue. We are going to be over $300 million by year 5. This is the team. I'm 30 seconds over, and you're tired of me. I want you to imagine me briefly. Many, many years ago, 30 years ago, I was a Green Beret medic from 1987 to 1993. I worked at Argonne National Lab in bench-to-bedside innovations for the Department of Energy, and I spent 20 years in market strategy for healthcare. We've got an amazing team. There's obviously someone missing from this, though, and that's you guys. That's you guys. Thank you.
Scott, great job. Have a seat.
Hang on. So,
Live station.
yeah. Hang on.
There
Hang on.
you go.
All right. So
Yeah. Okay.
my father never played catch with me, and okay.
Is that why you got into the sepsis work?
Yeah, I think
No.
so.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Such a comfy couch. This is
That's
nice.
lovely.
I sat on it earlier when none of you were in here. When you were all drinking, I was on this couch. When the lights were out.
All right, I got a question for you.
Sorry, questions.
No, you're good. The device looks so small and
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Why do you think nothing like this has ever been invented yet?
Well, man, I think that is a phrase that comes out for all sorts of technologies that you say to yourself, why the heck haven't we changed this? If this could have been done better. In healthcare, those of you who are familiar, physicians are trained, and they're trained on a specific protocol. And as a result, if 40 years ago a physician was pinching fingers and teaching residents to pinch fingers at, say, Dornbecker Children's, then they trained physicians, and it keeps going. It takes these, Niles Eldredge, a famous paleontologist, talked about punctuated equilibrium. Eventually, things evolved to the point where we all realize there are ways that we could do economies of scale or improve the way that we're actually conducting any type of work. And in clinical care, there's 2 speeds. There's the fast way and the slow way. And the fast way takes 50 years. So that, I think, is probably the easiest way to answer that, because I think physicians are so accustomed to pinching the fingers that they've never really thought. But I'll tell you, every single physician that we show our device to, and by the way, my device is on my end table at home. I was going to bring it. I was going to put it up and go, look, it's like a pulse oximeter, only gooder. And every physician, every single physician, I've never heard a physician go, no. Every single one has gone, oh my God, why haven't we, you guys, wait, you're doing this? Oh, I wish I had thought of it. So, yeah.
I'm glad you thought of it. Well,
Thank you.
where will the devices be manufactured?
Oh, what a difficult question. So we've been trying to identify a contract manufacturer in the Pacific Northwest. As it so happens, we have a CM in Baltimore that can partner with us, because the standard unit that showed on this deck is a manual applied circulatory dysfunction monitor. We're currently developing, in partnership with the National Science Foundation, an automated version that actually will completely supplant Baxter's Starling in intensive care units. God help them. So this CM is actually more poised to sort of partner with us in the expansion from the standard automated, or the standard unit, to the automated unit. FDA clearance. Sorry, you
Yeah,
asked a question.
thank you. Yeah.
Sorry.
I got to be here for.
I'm sorry. You're great.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Yeah. How much will it cost for you to get FDA clearance?
So FDA clearance proper is somewhere between $290,000 and $320,000, and that's it. We could be theoretically selling within a year.
Does this work equally well for all skin tones?
Wow, what a great question. So we have two publications. Our photodiode that is in the fingertip sensor, the little cradle, is reflective light. And so we published two papers demonstrating that there are no differences in skin tone. Our device is skin tone agnostic. So, and that's not, and pulse oximeters cannot say that. We can.
Yep.
Is
Great.
that it?
Yeah, that's great.
it?
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that was great. Okay, we have our final growth stage finalists, Square Baby, and they are a Bend company as well. Square Baby provides dietitian-designed organic baby and toddler meals customized to baby's age, stage, and dietary needs, and it includes allergen introduction, vegan, and animal proteins. And all that really does matter right now. I know if you haven't had kids recently, that all of that is a big deal. So let's welcome Katie Thomson.
Hi, I'm Katie Thomson, co-founder and CEO of Square Baby. I'm a registered dietitian with 20 years of experience in the food industry. I started out at Starbucks as the first nutritionist and made health and wellness one of the 4 strategic pillars of the company. And much of the change that you'll still see today, oatmeal, skinny lattes, egg whites, etc. But in 2008, I became a mom and my focus shifted to the baby food aisle. Like many parents, I was so fed up by what I found. It was fruit heavy, a sea of one-off products, shelf-stable meals. Frankly, you could not pay me to eat what I was about to feed my own baby. And even worse, I was wondering, how do I know that he's got enough of the right foods to grow up to be an adventurous eater? So in 2010, a fire really started in me, and I left Starbucks to set out and solve it. Did you know that most baby foods have more sugar than a bowl of Lucky Charms? This is ridiculous. And don't just take it from me. A recent WHO study found that most baby food products are unhealthy. 70% exceeded or failed on protein, 44% exceeded sugar, and 99% had misleading marketing. Baby food pouches were found to be the unhealthiest category. So let's dig into the numbers. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Fruit heavy, unbalanced, high in sugar. I ain't no sugar mama. In fact, many have more sugar per ounce than Coca-Cola. So not that fruit is bad for our youngest eaters. It's the fact that they're growing up with tooth decay issues, with poor eating habits, and frankly, creating the next generation of picky eaters. So this is misleading marketing exhibit A on the left. These are two meals that are marketed as avocado as a main ingredient. You'll see the wild rumpus avocado has 0 grams of fat. That's literally less than a teaspoon of avocado, while it is advertised as a main ingredient. The square baby meal has 6 grams of healthy fats and 1 gram of sugar because avocado is the main ingredient as advertised. This is why we created a meal system that offers 100% daily nutrition, completely customizable. Any 2 to 3 meals offers 100% of baby's daily recommended veggies, fruits, grains, and protein. We also offer an industry-leading commitment that every single one of our meals has more vegetables than any other food group. So because we're balanced, we naturally have half the sugar and twice the protein and healthy fats as most pouches. But nutrition isn't the only issue with the baby food aisle. Leading brands have been knowingly selling meals with toxic levels of heavy metals. Parents are looking for a transparent brand that they can trust. We are pioneers in testing and in advocacy and are proud to have earned the Clean Label Project's Purity Award, which is the new gold standard in food safety and quality. And did you know that you can actually help prevent food allergies before they've developed? New landmark research has shown that introducing allergens as early as 4 to 6 months and several times per week can help to prevent allergies by up to 80%. But despite this research, most baby food companies fail on allergen introduction and instead are touting allergen free. But not Square Baby. We are pioneers in this space and offer 8 top allergens. We make science easy and super delicious. And remember that study that said that 75 or 70% of baby foods fail on protein? Not Square Baby. We're getting him a tattoo, by the way. While most of the fresh baby food companies, all the fresh baby food companies, are only vegetarian or vegan, we knew it was really important to offer a variety of premium proteins that parents are begging for. And with Square Baby, innovation is not just the packaging we're in, the fact that we have allergen introduction, or the fact that we're fresh. We've literally solved for every single pain point in the baby food aisle. This is why we've won the 2024 Baby Food Product of the Year. And because customization is key, our parents can tailor their meal selection to their baby's dietary needs. So if they're low in iron, need probiotics or omega-3s, we got you. We're proud to have built a brand that does not have to sacrifice on sustainability. In fact, our new packaging has just won an award for innovation in sustainable materials. All right, so now you're wondering, oh my gosh, clicker. How do I get some of this stuff? All right, so our custom website allows our customers to either order a dietitian-designed assortment at 4 different subscription levels. Prices vary between $5 and $7, or they can completely customize based on the filters on our website. So again, dietary needs, the textures they're looking for. People love to pour into each of these nutritional details and pick and choose their meal assortment. We've been so overwhelmed by the number of Peloton instructors, NFL families, celebrities, models that we have fed their families. They have reached out to us. They want to feed their kiddos the best, and they love the service that we offer. And this is why we've never had to pay for a single post. So the other highly trusted source, of course, is your pediatrician, which is why we're deploying a highly targeted strategy to reach pediatricians' offices with educational kits about allergen introduction and balanced meals. At their 4 to 6 month well visits. This is a strategy that allowed Stonyfield Yo Baby Yogurt to reach customers at 20 cents per lead. Another way to drive down customer acquisition costs and cost per lead is through earned media, of course, which is why we're proud to have never paid for placement here either. We're recognized as experts in the industry, and we have a product that naturally makes the top lists from leading dietitians and major publications. We're also earning customers' trust by just authentically connecting with them. We are more than just a product. We are a service and somebody that our customers and our families really lean on. Okay, so let's just obsess about this for a minute. Take it in. Our meals have real color, real texture, bright flavors because they're simply real organic ingredients. This is not baby food. This is real food. And it's not just for babies, we found. We've discovered that we've recently started to feed many other people than just babies. It's for anyone on a soft food diet. So our customers are also autistic teens, aging parents, cancer and post-surgery patients. This is an untapped, ignored market. These folks want more than applesauce and Ensure. They want something dignified. They want whole food, organic, real ingredients, something that looks and tastes actually delicious. This soft food diet is a giant opportunity. We built our our unit economics from day one to be really strong and healthy. So we have high retention, an average order value of $128, which makes our direct to consumer model highly scalable and near profitability. We thought about our growth strategy from day one, all about capital efficiency and getting to profitability as soon as possible. So Kendall and I, my co-founder, started in a commercial kitchen. For the first 3 years, we made the first 100,000 meals by hand. We were laser focused on understanding our product, our customer, retention, everything. It was very important to us that we de-risk the company as we scaled. We are now fully commercialized with a leading co-manufacturer and have gone from making 800 meals a day to 70,000. We'll finish 2024 strong with our test and market of choice, as well as launching on Amazon. In 2025, we'll focus on additional online channels like Thrive Market, Blue Apron, as well as additional healthcare. Our transition from Square Baby to Square Foods has been planned from day one. We knew that if we had the customer and we could trust, we had mom's trust, that we could really grow with that customer. So we've already tested allergen introduction powders and have in our pipeline smoothies and toddler foods and other items. In fact, the name of our company has been Square Foods since day one. So join us as we disrupt the $8 billion baby food, organic baby food industry and beyond. Help save lives through food allergy prevention as we provide delicious and convenient meals for all and become the most trusted brand with nutrition science at our core. And happy hour. Oh, yeah.
Great job. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Oh, my gosh.
I will be ordering very soon.
I had a lot to get through. Thanks for bearing with me,
Yeah.
everybody. I was glad I had my slides.
No, you did fantastic. And baby nutrition has been top of mind right now. I
Yeah.
think you've done a fabulous job, and being able to build trust with your parents are number one. So I think you're doing it. So great job. Let's get into the questions.
All right.
Your products look wonderful, but how can you defend against competition? What is your moat?
Gosh, I have a very long list of what we've solved for. One of the first things that I wanted to do was not just create the healthiest product on the market, but to really relieve customers, parents' worry. I found myself in the baby food aisle as a dietitian with a master's in nutrition thinking, how do I combine these meals? How do I know my baby's gotten enough of the right food? So I actually spent 2 years doing research on what infants need at each stage of development and created the square meal system. So it's all totally nerded out, but any 2 to 3 of our meals offers 100% of their daily recommended veggies, fruits, grains, and proteins. So that's something that is really difficult to achieve. In addition, I think our true north has always been to just make the right decision for infant nutrition and for the parent. We've not had to cut any corners on quality, nutrition, and sustainability, and parents are willing to pay for that. So what you'll find with the misleading marketing is that people want, for example, the credit of an avocado. They do. They don't put avocado in there. So we command a higher price point because we have a better product. 33% of parents are making baby food at home because they don't want what's in the baby food aisle. They want something fresh. They want, what a dietitian would make for them fresh if they could. So we have really solved for every pain point with allergen introduction, no one else. The premium animal proteins, none of the other fresh baby food companies. And just this balanced nutrition, low sugar promise.
Oh, that's great. I was one of those people that made my baby food for my daughter who's 3 now because it is all applesauce.
Yeah.
But now with this one, I don't even think I'm gonna have the time. So it's nice to
Got you.
know someone that you can trust and it's gonna be real food. All right. How quickly does the food arrive after ordering?
Ooh, I love this. We from day one, we did a lot of DIY, right? Commercial kitchen, hand labeling, lots of chiropractor appointments. What we knew is that we needed to really understand how we would scale, and operational excellence was really important. We paid a lot of close attention to our other competitors at the time who kind of grew for growth's sake, and were sending packages to your doorstep, with the seals broken and it's not frozen anymore. So understanding operations was really key. So the short answer is to that is that we have an on-demand system. So our meals are shipped, same day or next day, and depending on your region, it's a 1 to 3 day ground shipment.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow. How does your pricing compare to the other companies, especially with rising prices among baby items?
Yeah. So we, from day one, knew that building a brand, again, that didn't have to sacrifice on quality. We didn't want to get stuck in this sort of purgatory or race to the bottom from a pricing perspective. We wanted to stay really true to what we were solving, and that does come at a higher price point. And parents even notice it when they go to the grocery store and now have to buy their own ingredients. It's expensive. My last Trader Joe's visit was an all-time record. Um, so yes, $5 to $7 is higher than any of the other baby foods. However, if you think about now the way the grocery aisle, it has the prices have raised. Some of those pouches that are either shelf stable or all sugar are in the $4 range. So you're really paying $1 extra for the best nutrition for your baby.
And we know it doesn't have lead in it. So
We do
that's
heavy
great.
metals testing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a huge issue. We're actually on the founding board members of the Clean Label Project's Baby Coalition, which is on the forefront of advocacy and education within heavy metals. So in 2025, January 1st, every baby food company is going to have to report their heavy metals through a QR code. This is something we've been on the forefront of. We've always done testing. We always known it was the right thing to do. And frankly, it'll put us at a really big competitive advantage that we have nothing to hide and, really great numbers to show.
Fantastic. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Katie. Appreciate it.